Sometime in the last 12 months, someone gave you good news about money. A raise. Maybe 3%. Maybe your manager called it merit-based. Maybe you told your family that night. Here is what actually happened in that meeting. According to Mercer's survey of over 1,000 companies, the average merit increase in 2024 was 3.3%. In the same period, consumer prices rose 2.9%, which means the average American worker's raise was less than half of 1%. And anyone at 3% or below did not get a raise at all. They got a pay cut delivered with a handshake and a smile. You didn't notice. Your manager probably didn't notice either. And the reason neither of you noticed is a bug in human perception that has been documented for almost 100 years. A bug so reliable that entire industries are quietly built on top of it. Here's what's coming. A soda that cost exactly 5 cents for 73 years, and the company president who asked his hunting buddy, the President of the United States, to invent a new coin rather than change that number. Babe Ruth explaining why he deserved to out-earn the White House, a country where everyone became a millionaire and no one could afford bread. A test you will fail in the middle of this video on purpose, and the 4 permanent installations that make this illusion visible for the rest of your life. But first, meet the most stubborn price in history. In 1886, a glass of Coca-Cola cost 5 cents. In 1959, a bottle of Coca-Cola still cost 5 cents. 73 years, 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the airplane, the atomic bomb, and rock and roll. And the price of a Coke did not move a single cent. This was not generosity. It was a trap. Coca-Cola had locked itself into early bottling contracts, and then built an empire of vending machines that only accepted nickels. Raising the price to 6 cents meant re-engineering every machine in America. Jumping to a dime meant doubling the price overnight. So the company's legendary boss, Robert Woodruff, tried something else. In 1953, Coca-Cola approached the United States Treasury and asked them to mint a 7.5-cent coin. And Woodruff didn't stop there. He took the idea directly to his hunting buddy. His hunting buddy was Dwight Eisenhower, the President of the United States. It did not work, but sit with that for a second. One of the most powerful companies on Earth found it easier to lobby for a new denomination of American currency than to change a number the public had anchored on. Economists Daniel Levy and Andrew Young later studied the nickel Coke as a textbook case of what's called nominal price rigidity. For 73 years, the cost of sugar, glass, labor, and trucking changed constantly. The value moved every single year. The number did not. Because nobody was looking at the value, everyone was anchored to the number. Hold on to that phrase, anchored to the number, because that is the exact mechanism that is shrinking your salary right now. In 1928, an economist named Irving Fisher published a book called The Money Illusion. The thesis was simple and devastating. People think about money in terms of the number printed on it, not in terms of what that number buys. Fisher opened the book with a woman he met in Germany, a shopkeeper who sold him a shirt. She was delighted with the sale. She had bought the shirt for less than she sold it for, so in her mind, she had made a profit. Except this was Germany during the Great Inflation. The money in her hand could no longer buy a replacement shirt. She was liquidating her own store, item by item, and her brain was recording every transaction as a win, because the number went up. Here is the picture I want to install in your head, permanently. A dollar is not a fixed unit. It is a ruler that shrinks about 3% every year, and you measure everything with it. Your salary, your savings, your progress, your worth. Imagine measuring your height every year with a ruler that quietly shrinks. Last year it said 5'11". This year it says 6'1". Did you grow? No. The ruler shrank. But your brain registered progress because the number went up. The shrinking ruler. That's the whole video in 3 words. Everything else is evidence and repair. The evidence. First. In 1997, researchers Shafir, Diamond, and Tversky ran the experiment in the Quarterly Journal of Economics. 2 workers. One gets a 5% raise during 4% inflation. The other gets 1% with 0 inflation. Identical real gain, 1% each. Participants consistently judged the 5% worker as better off, happier, more successful. The bigger number won, even though it bought exactly the same amount. And the underlying mechanism was mapped by Tversky and Kahneman back in 1974. Anchoring. The first number dominates your judgment, and every adjustment after it falls short. Your salary in dollars is the anchor. Inflation is the adjustment your brain never finishes making. So let's price the damage. And I warned you there would be a test. Here it is. Pause, if you want, and guess. $100 in the year 2000. How many dollars does it take to buy the same things today? The answer is about 185. If you guessed 130, 140, 150, congratulations. You have a completely normal human brain, and it just failed to see the ruler shrink. Almost everyone guesses low. That gap between your guess and 185, that is the illusion measured. Now watch it eat a career. A person earning $50,000 in 2015 needed about $67,000 in 2025 to maintain the same purchasing power. That is the Bureau of Labor Statistics' own conversion. Same house, same groceries, same life. 34% more dollars to buy exactly the same things. So if that person's salary climbed to $60,000 over the decade, they saw $10,000 of progress and probably celebrated more than once. In real terms, they went backwards 7,000. Every celebration was the shopkeeper selling another shirt. This is not a hypothetical family. The Census Bureau's own data shows that median household income in 2015, about $56,500, was still below its real level from 2007, and below the all-time high from 1999. American families spent the better part of 2 decades collecting raises and going nowhere. And at the bottom of the labor market, the ruler does something crueler. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. It has been $7.25 since July of 2009, 16 years. The number has not moved, so the brain files it under stability. But run today's $7.25 backwards through the ruler, and it's worth roughly $4.90 in 2009 money. Nobody voted for a 30% pay cut. Nobody announced one. The ruler delivered it silently, 0.25% a month. The distortion even rewrites history in the other direction. In 1930, Babe Ruth signed for $80,000 a year, more than President Hoover's $75,000. When reporters pushed back, Ruth supposedly said, "I had a better year than he did." The quote may be polished by legend, but the numbers are real. And notice what your brain just did with them. 80,000 sounds quaint. Fix the ruler, and Ruth was making over $1.5 million in today's money. Compare numbers across decades without adjusting, and the shrinking ruler turns legends into paupers and makes your grandfather's 20-cent gasoline sound like paradise. Now, if you're starting to feel robbed, hold on, because the second half of this video is worse, and then it's better. Worse, because this isn't a bug someone forgot to fix. Better, because the fix takes you about 10 seconds a day. First, the extreme case. If the illusion survives at 3% a year, what happens when the ruler doesn't shrink 3% a year, but 50% every few days? Germany, 1923. At the peak of the hyperinflation, prices doubled roughly every 4 days. Factories paid workers twice a day, and spouses waited at the gates with wheelbarrows, because by evening, the morning's pay bought less. A loaf of bread reached 200 billion marks. Children built kites out of banknotes. Families burned cash for heat, because the bills were worth less than the firewood they could buy, and people papered their walls with money. If you watched our video about America's first paper currency, you've seen that image before, 140 years earlier, with continental dollars. Worthless bills as wallpaper is history's way of announcing that the number and the value have officially divorced. And here is the stunning part. Even then, even at billions per loaf, Fisher kept meeting people like his shopkeeper, still counting profits in marks, still anchored to the number while the currency died in their hands. Money illusion is not broken by extremes, it is revealed by them. Everyone was a millionaire, no one could eat. You are not living through Weimar. Your version is slower and quieter, which makes it more dangerous, not less. A principle in psychophysics called the Weber-Fechner law says the brain perceives proportional change, not absolute change. 3% a year is about 1/4% per month, below the threshold of intuitive detection. Wheelbarrows of cash, you would notice. 1/4% a month, never. The erosion only becomes visible when you zoom out across years. And by then, the damage is compounded. Which raises the uncomfortable question. If this bias has been documented for a century, why does every financial number in your life still arrive unadjusted? Look at where the illusion sends money, and you'll have your answer. Your paycheck, nominal. The research on wage rigidity shows something remarkable. Workers fight nominal pay cuts with fury and accept identical real cuts through inflation with almost no resistance. A 3% raise during 3% inflation costs the employer nothing, gains the employee nothing, and everyone leaves the room happy. Your savings account. The average savings rate in 2024 sat under 0.5% per FDIC data, while inflation ran near 3%. A real return of roughly negative 2.5% per year. The balance rose, the value fell, and the statement shows you the interest, never the inflation. The bank shows you the number that went up and hides the number that went down. That is not an oversight. Your investments. The S&P 500 is marketed at 10% a year. That's nominal. Subtract average inflation and the real figure is closer to 7. Nearly 1/3 of the famous 10% is not growth. It is your money running in place on a shrinking ruler. And for retirees, even the official adjustments shrink. Social Security's cost of living formula tracks the spending of workers, not the elderly. And researchers estimate it quietly under-adjust for the people standing in the pharmacy line. Small on paper, real at the register. Nobody in this chain is lying to you. They are simply never showing you the ruler. And nobody is taught to ask for it. That is exactly why it works. So let's break it. 4 installations, not tips. Tips get forgotten. These are permanent changes to how your brain reads a number. First, install the question. From today, every financial number that enters your life gets the same reflex, nominal or real. Every raise, every return, every price compared across years. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has a free CPI inflation calculator. Type an amount, pick 2 years, 10 seconds, done. And here's the shortcut your brain can actually hold. The rule of 72 works for inflation too. Divide 72 by the inflation rate. At 3%, money loses half its purchasing power in 24 years. Half. That's not a projection. That's arithmetic. You now know the rate your ruler shrinks. Second, negotiate in real terms. 3% during 3% inflation is not a raise. It is maintenance. Your real ask is inflation plus merit. If inflation is 3 and you've earned a 2% real increase, the number on the table is 5. Arrive with the BLS conversion printed. Research from the Harvard program on negotiation shows that objective data breaks anchoring. Without it, you anchor on whatever your employer offers first. With it, you set the anchor. Remember the room with the handshake and the smile? Next time, you bring the ruler. Third, invest in real value. Grade every investment by how much it grew above inflation, not how much it grew. Treasury inflation-protected securities adjust their principal automatically with the CPI. Series Wine savings bonds recalculate an inflation component every 6 months. The Treasury announced a composite rate of 3.11% for bonds issued from November 2024 through April 2025. These are not exotic products. They are the financial system's own written admission that nominal numbers lie. Fourth, keep score in real dollars once a year. Pick 1 week every January. Take 3 numbers: your salary, your savings, your total invested. Run each through the CPI calculator back to one fixed base year and write them down next to last year's. That's your real scoreboard. It takes 15 minutes a year, and it does for money illusion what the age-progressed photo did for the stranger in your head in our last video. It forces the truth in front of the only judge that matters. Your salary can rise on the nominal scoreboard and fall on the real one. From now on, you'll be the one person in the room who knows which scoreboard is real. So, that 3% raise you got this year, you now know what it was. Coca-Cola held a nickel for 73 years and tried to redesign American coinage rather than fight the anchor. A shopkeeper in Germany liquidated her own store while her ledger sang. Babe Ruth's 80,000 sounds like pocket change until you fix the ruler. And your salary, your savings, your returns, and every price you will ever see are written in a unit that changes size every year, shown to you by institutions that do better when you don't adjust. Irving Fisher named the illusion in 1928. The lab confirmed it in 1997. The system still hands you nominal numbers because the illusion is useful to everyone except you, but you can't unsee a shrinking ruler. The question is installed now, nominal or real? And that question is the difference between someone who feels richer every year and someone who actually is. This is the second episode in a series on the biases your brain runs on money. Last time, you learned your brain can't see exponential curves, which is why compound interest feels like nothing for a decade. Today, you learned it can't see a ruler that changes size. 2 biases, both invisible, both named, both now yours. The third one decides what you buy every single day, and you've never heard its name. Your homework takes 30 seconds. Pull up your last raise, subtract that year's inflation, post the real number in the comments, positive or negative. I read them, and the most surprising one goes into the next episode. If you haven't seen the compound interest video, it's on screen now, and the 2 pair like diagnosis and cure. And subscribe if you want the rest of the series, the systems that shape your money and the biases that hide them. Your salary is not the number on your paycheck. It is what that number buys. And that value changes every year, even when the number does not.